It's midweek rugby in prime time here in the Rugby Europe Super Cup. Hello, everybody, from Tbilisi, Georgia. I am Tom Eschen alongside Adam Ash as NSI STM visits the Tel Aviv Heat in a pivotal Eastern Conference matchup here today in the Rugby Europe Super Cup. We appreciate you joining us, approaching 8 p.m. local time here in Tbilisi, Georgia. This game, of course, originally scheduled a home match for the Tel Aviv Heat, but due to some travel restrictions, this match being played in Georgia in Avchala Stadium here today. Should be a wonderful match at that. Like I said, the Tel Aviv Heat and NSI SDM teams both in the spot in the standings where they have an opportunity to reach the semifinals. With a victory today, the Tel Aviv Heat would clinch their spot. NSI SDM, a victory would certainly help their case in staying alive in all of this. A lot on the line here today, Adam, for both of these sides. I think it should really produce some good rugby out there today.
Yes, absolutely. Both teams have performed relatively well throughout this tournament and have competed with some of the top teams here. So there should certainly be a good game installed today. I know NSI in the previous game vs Black Lions showed some real promise at times and played some good end-to-end rugby, expansive rugby, moving the ball across the field, but just struggled to hold on to it at times. They were often turned over at crucial points that just gave Black Lions the momentum back in the game, and ended up Black Lion winning that game 27 points. So the improvements that they want to make here, a lot of them will be at the ruck point and the contact point. Tel Aviv, on the other hand, looking pretty good in their last game. They'll look to improve on their discipline for sure. At least 4 or 5 for tackles, which, against tougher teams, they'll struggle to win games if they're going to, lose that many parts. A little bit more experience guys are very good. We get an interesting game, and it should be a competitive one with both teams needing the win here to progress through the next stages of this tournament.
Yeah, for sure, Adam, and it's obviously some pressure, some tension in the air here as well, and it should certainly be a good matchup at that. You see this Tel Aviv Heat. A lot of these teams, both these sides, I guess, staying with pretty much the same lineups we saw a few days ago here in the Rugby Europe Super Cup. The Tel Aviv Heat, they come off a victory against Penza. That game also played here in Georgia, 33-14 over the course of the weekend. Meanwhile, NSI on their side of things, as Adam mentioned, that loss to Black Lion, really not the same NSI team that we saw in the first few rounds of this Rugby Europe Super Cup. That was a 27-20 victory for Georgia. Georgia catapulting themselves to the top of the standings of this Rugby Europe Super Cup. So it certainly, these two teams have a lot on the line here today, and also each with one match to go after today. So this is each team's 5th match of this competition. After today, they each have one more to play. Ironically enough, each of those is against the Black Lion. So Black Lion at the top of the standings, they really have the destiny in their own hands. But I certainly expect another good match here today, Adam. And with a little bit more on the line, you got to imagine, that could definitely play a factor in some things, considering this matchup back on October 23rd was probably the most high-flying, wild match we've seen so far of this competition.
Yeah, totally. And, in the previous game, NSI vs Black Lion, things did get heated, and I think they were very much looking at that game in the same way, where each team wanted to win desperately, and it led to some tension and a couple of little scuffles out there. So we could see the same thing happening today for sure. Tel Aviv, especially the way they want to get off that line and defend and tackle hard, and obviously missed time in a few of those in the previous game, but they're a team that like to play with a lot of aggression and have some really strong ball carriers, so should make for an exciting game.
Yeah, both sides actually after their matches said they felt like they showed a lot of character in two different results in that. The Heath and their head coach Kevin Muzankith had said, you know, they had a pretty close match with Penza over the weekend and pulled away, and he thought that really, their final 20-25 minutes showed a lot about what they were all about. And meanwhile, on the other side of things, with NSI, their head coach Alexander Pervukin and they're also the captain on the day, Frito Olivier, both said, hey, you know, we sort of battled our way through with Black Lime. They got a late try to make that 27-20, and within that, also able to secure themselves a bonus point to sort of keep them in the conversation. So you kind of felt like maybe they built on a little bit towards the end of last match into today, and obviously that could play a factor as we wait for the players to take the pitch here this evening in Georgia.
Absolutely, and you know, I think that obviously NSI having a lack of games over the last 6 weeks, were probably coming into the Black Lion game a little bit cold, and you know, they're going to be better for that today. I think we should see a reaction from them today, and they'll come out firing in this game.
As the players take the pitch here in Avchala Stadium, a few fans on hand, but as you mentioned, no Georgia side here. We do have the referees from Georgia, so maybe the home fans be rooting for them just a little bit extra, with Shota Tezvadze, the main referee, surrounded by Saba Abulashvili and Gila Lemanjava, his assistants along the sidelines there today. So I don't know if you have fans that root for the referees, but they are from Georgia here today, Adam. So that's at least something going for our officiating crew.
I'm sure a few fans will have come out, or friends and family anyway, of the referees to watch this game and support them. So yeah, we can probably guarantee there will be at least 5 or 10 people in the crowd. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
But the players, as we've seen, even throughout the sports world, you know, we've seen it in soccer, basketball, what have you, they've at times be played behind closed doors and had to provide some of their own electricity, and they've done a good job of that. It's Tel Aviv Heat in sort of the camouflage, if you will, dark blue shirts here today, and NSI with that light sort of Carolina blue, sky blue, if you will, on their side of things. So lots of shades of blue under the night sky here in Georgia today.
We're ready for the time, right?
And that's the voice you'll be hearing throughout the match. Shota Tezvadze, our referee. They'll be adjudicating things as we go.
1 minute, boys. We wait for TV.
1 minute to play here, Adam. Final thoughts here before we get started here. Who has to start well? What do you expect here in the first few moments? Who has to, you know, what do you think each team will try to establish?
I think that NSI will look to play in the right areas of the field and certainly start the game. Both teams will look to start the game physically, but I think whoever manages to hold on to the ball and play in the right area of the field at the start of this game will put themselves on a good foot moving forward for the rest of this game. I think that's probably what both teams struggled with a little bit in the last game. I thought Tel Aviv actually had some pretty good kicks at the start of the previous game. Saunders, really experienced number 9, who kicked the ball into some good areas in the field. So they're going to look to do that, but just defensively probably be more disciplined. And NSI, if they can play in the right areas and keep the ball, they'll be in a good spot here.
And away we go. The opening kick is made. A pivotal match here in the Eastern Conference of the Rugby Europe Super Cup, and we are off and kicking, if you will. Both teams exchanging a couple of kicks to start right around 4 degrees.